a podcast your mama warned you about. Did ya hear me?
Welcome everybody, another episode of Did You Hear Me? Sleezy here for episode number 23, the Jordan episode. I'm here with PackMan.
It's hard to keep track now. I'm glad you're keeping track of
it. I just number them off every week.
Yeah,
I like that.
The sheriff is here.
MJ the GOAT.
Yeah, some would say. Some would argue that weren't born.
Some that are very dumb.
Yeah, and we're blessed, I would say, and honored to have our special guest for episode 23, Viking Chris.
I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you're glad to be here.
I did not see this coming.
Yeah, I know. You know, Viking Chris got a shout out in the very first episode back when, in the dark ages, as we call them sometimes, of Did You Hear Me? Not that we're out of them yet, but but he got a shout out then, and 23 episodes later, here you are. How does it feel?
Awkward.
This is, I'm really glad he's here, I really am, but I was kind of surprised he accepted the invitation because he's not a man of the public.
No, he's maybe canceled a few podcasts in his day.
Yeah.
PackMan gave me the big puppy dog eyes, and I couldn't say no. So
That's awesome. Yeah, just for our listeners don't know, you know, we had the King Hunter B on, who we called the podcast killer, but it was Viking Chris who told him to execute the podcast.
Sound advice.
he needed some sage advice.
He did. So
He always does.
yeah, continually. That's true. So glad you're here, and you graciously brought us our drink of the week. Would you tell us what you brought for us to sip on tonight?
Yeah, I was really tempted to bring a bourbon, but saw the Viking Blood of mead, so I felt like with my nickname, I couldn't pass up the Viking Blood.
yeah.
So it's a little different one. Has a little bit of cinnamon in it as well. So
for the listeners, like what is Viking Blood? The mead?
it's a mead. It's just a mead. It's a fermented honey wine that one's 19%, I think.
19,
So,
I think you're trying to get my pants. 19%.
Them puppy dog eyes.
Yeah, that's it.
If something's going to be called blood, probably has to be stout.
Yeah, so this sounds kind of primal, like it's made out of mead. It's an old process, right?
Yeah, it's from like the 1700. This recipe's from like 1700,
Hey.
so it's
You can probably taste the blood in it, the spear blood. Well, we've already got it poured because the special agent was doing some photo ops with it.
Yeah,
Sheriff has a manly Stanley tonight.
yeah, that's it. I'm channeling my inner white girl.
There you go. We've got some nice glasses. Take a sip. Wow, that is sweet.
I guess I'm secret beverage sheriff tonight.
You are. That is I don't know how to describe it. It's really sweet.
That is.
That's surprising that it's 19%.
Yeah, you don't taste 19% in it, that's for sure.
That's right.
I don't know what's in the Stanley, but it is sweet.
Must be some juice.
That is deceptive.
Yeah, this mead. I was trying to think if I've had mead before. Definitely not this. If I've had it before, it's not been this good. So this is actually very tasty.
I've had mead at the wine fest.
Yeah.
With all the tendons beside me here to the left.
That's it.
That's
there, and Chris actually put me on to this Viking Blood.
Of course he did.
Oh gosh, it's been a few years by
Yeah.
now. We were having a party somewhere, and brought out the Viking Blood, and I was hooked, man. I like it. I enjoy it. I think it's good.
Yeah. So points for a cool name for the drink, and also I think it's smoother than wine to me.
oh, yeah, definitely.
Have we had a wine
We have not.
episode?
We have not.
He's blazing a trail there too.
Yeah.
For all our people who said it's a beer drink of the week, touche.
Not today.
We
I
got
was
you.
expecting it.
We got you. We got mead. So thank you again for bringing it.
I thought it was going to be a green beer, but
That's next
That's
week.
next week, my friend.
oh,
You're a week early,
Yeah.
You're Irish,
I'm way early.
etc.
Every day is St. Patty's for.
Yeah. So I mentioned Viking Chris got a shout out in the very first episode of the podcast. And now that we're here face to face, I just want to get it all out in the open. You're one of the original doubters
I know where this
Oh,
is
no.
going.
He's still a
of
naysayer.
the sheriff's accent.
Oh yeah, 100% fake.
What?
I guess he's questioning my method acting.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
I
Viking
just,
Chris was the original doubtcaster on the sheriff's origins and his voice.
yeah, I don't know if I can, I don't know how to contradict that. I think I did say on an episode, and everyone is going to be very aghast at this, that I was selected at my church. Shout out to McScuse for my private Christian school. Some of the well-behaved gentlemen was selected to do a sermon, more like a sermonette. And my parents, of course, bought like a bazillion of the cassette tapes of my sermon. So if I can scratch up one of those,
There's a cassette tape
Hey, we
of
got
the
an
sheriff.
we'll have to match up the cassette tape with the current me.
The sheriff, the Sermon on the Mount.
There was some Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah. It was not written in red. That's probably sacrilegious to even say.
Yeah.
But there was some Teddy Roosevelt quotes in there.
So what you're saying is we could find that cassette. We could put a side by side.
Correct.
Between the original sheriff and what the sheriff has morphed into.
I don't think I sound too different from that. Again, I don't listen
Viking
to
Chris, do you have any theories on how this ended up?
autism.
I think when he moved to South Carolina, it just grew on him, and he
Adopted.
chameleon.
Yeah.
Method
chameleon.
Yeah, he assimilated, some may say.
You never know.
As he's mentioned before, he came for the weather and the women.
I did.
So I think the accent morphed into try to,
It's a little cultural appropriation.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
what I call it.
It is. You came down here and just stole everything from you. Already won the war. And now you come down and
I already won it.
you come down and take the accent.
Don't think I had anything to do with it.
It's okay.
You're on the other side of the fence. We get it.
I have to pay at some point doing that. Never mind. I was gonna say, might have to pay Pack's power bill or something.
Hey, whatever makes you feel better at night.
I think that's happening on a different coast than this one.
Anyways, we're 7 minutes in. You got anyways already, Sheriff. So
I did. I'm trying to change the subject from.
Yeah.
I taught Heath Ledger everything he knows.
Heath Ledger.
Yeah, he's a well-known method actor. Jim Carrey did it too as Alan Kaufman.
Where are we
Andy
going?
Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman. I had the A right.
Yeah. Well, there's a great Andy Kaufman joke.
Fabulous.
Slash Jim Carrey joke by David Chappelle on his new special.
Can we get into that one?
Nope. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a great joke. One of the greatest jokes I've
Has
ever
our
heard.
Nordic friend heard it?
I have not yet.
Oh,
Tell
you would
after,
love it.
We'll tell you after the show. But definitely check out his new special. It's worth a watch.
What's the word for that joke?
Moving on.
It's a good joke.
Funny.
It is.
I think
It's funny.
We have endorsed watching it and make your own opinion. Anyways, Viking Chris.
The Dreamer by Dave Chappelle. Just
Yes.
want to give him the name of it.
That's
Lee
fine.
wants to talk about anything
Yeah.
but the Dreamer right now. That's
And
why
it's-
he's trying so hard.
That's why I keep hammering down
And it's
on
my
it.
fault for bringing it up.
Controversial was the word I was looking for.
Yep. All right. Viking Chris is here. You are one of the top tier firearm experts that I know personally.
Agreed.
And that's
Yep.
instructing, and also just are you on an ATF watch list?
I'm definitely a first rounder.
Yeah. I would be pretty sure, like in a ATF bunker somewhere where there's like a who's list. There's a Viking Chris picture in the corner somewhere. Like, keep an eye on this guy. Nothing illegal yet.
He's
But-
the nexus. He's
Yeah.
like the picture where all the strings
That's
like lead
right.
back to
We could have
him.
asked him.
That's right.
We could have asked Gargantor and his man on, I don't know, earlier this week. I'll just say it like that.
Yeah.
It's
But-
time for another anyways.
Yeah. So I was getting into that to ask Viking Chris. I had a question about firearms instructing, because you are one of the better ones. You and Rye, the kayak guy.
Yes.
And that red truck.
Yeah. The former owner of the Red Beast
Yeah, that's where that came from.
1991 Nissan that is now in my driveway.
I couldn't believe it when
With
I
the
pulled
wooden,
up.
with the wooden parking brake beside the front
I
tire.
haven't. We just got it today. I'm not, on the hill. I'm not trusting it yet. So I put an
Oh,
extra.
I thought that was our Nordic Friends vehicle.
I know that's mine now.
Oh, man.
For the listeners, I bought Ryan, the kayak guy. Rye, the kayak guy.
Oh, easy.
1991 Nissan truck, and it's in the driveway, a little bit of a hill. You know, it is 33 years old, so I wasn't sure on the parking. I didn't want it to end up in my neighbor's living room, so there is a...
No, we got a almost as old vehicle to stop it now.
Yeah, so we've got the sheriff behind me now, we're good to go.
18-year vehicle.
That was a huge circle to get back to my question.
Anyways.
As a firearms instructor, do you prefer instructing people who have
Good question.
backyard knowledge of firearms in respect that they've shot guns a bunch but not necessarily trained, or do you rather train somebody who has never picked up a gun before? I think Pack was when he 15 years ago.
That's it.
What day was it?
Turned out it was the 3rd. It was supposed to be
Yeah.
the 2nd, but the
Yeah.
3rd of March.
So 15 years ago, you had not picked up a firearm, right? I mean, you might have picked one up, you know, in Milwaukee on the streets.
Shot sideways.
But you had not been a firearms guy.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you had, on the other side, I had shot before, but not trained. So anyways, I'm talking way too much, and I'll let you answer, so go ahead.
Yeah, I'd absolutely have a blank slate over somebody that has some experience. Just because there's more bad habits that you have to overcome, depending on which academic study you look at, it's somewhere between 10 to 18 reps of good repetition to override one bad rep. So if someone's been shooting since they were 5 and they were just kind of plinking in their backyard, that's a lot of work to overcome. Also, there's generally a attitude of, I know what I'm doing, which not having an open mindset and being willing to learn. Not necessarily, if they've shot before, they don't necessarily have that, but it definitely manifests itself quite often. So.
Yeah, because wouldn't you agree, or at least when I started, I don't know if the trigger pulls or the trigger poundage is the same. Is that the right term? When I started, have they changed?
The weights, what we were initially had was not a great trigger, and it was substantially heavier, so it has gone down.
Okay. My point in that being, so Glocks are the standard issue. They're very versatile guns, I would say, as far as like parts and.
Yeah, they just work. They're kind of like a Honda Accord. They're not something fancy, but they're reliable and
Good analogy.
they run. So.
Yeah. So my point in that being, most people who come in and have firearms, self-knowledge, they're not shooting a Glock. They're shooting something either nicer or just different.
Oh, it's kind of run of the mill. Some people are running stuff that's cheaper, some's nicer, but a Glock is just such a prolific firearm that even if it's not a Glock, like Smith & Wesson M&Ps, there's the polymer Wonder Guns. There's tons of them, so they're a copied Glock. So
yeah. So it's just different, I guess, was my point. When you come in for training, especially with you, and the Glocks, it's just different training. So having no knowledge of guns is probably better than having some knowledge.
Yes.
Okay.
Generally.
Yeah. How often do you get frustrated? That was a trick question.
You sound a very frustrated person.
It just depends on the individual. They're just like everything. There's all sorts of different personalities and attitude. Really, attitude's the bigger thing. If someone's out there willing to learn and make progress and keep a positive attitude, and that stuff's measured in inches, not miles. So if you come out and expect that, if you expect to come out and work for 3 days or a couple hours and you're going to be have massive improvement, you're not. It's just and like with any technical proficiency, getting better at hitting baseball, swinging a golf club, shooting free throws. It takes a lot of time to really perfect that stuff.
Yeah. So do you still do somebody who's had, I don't know, you're probably up to at least a decade and a half of, probably over that, a firearm experience, would you say?
I got my first real gun when I was 15.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking, just general experience?
Just like you've been around firearms for a long time.
Yeah.
And you've been instructing, so that means you get way more firearm time than the average person.
Yeah, and I grew up with some exposure to hunting, a lot of target shooting as a kid, and then I shot competitively in college. I was an NCAA D1 athlete.
Oh, man.
Not very good, but I did it.
Want to give a shout out to your alma mater?
Yeah, the Citadel. So
man,
I actually won an award freshman year for
400 listeners.
Most improved shooter because my first match was so bad. But
set the bar low. You can always be the most improved.
And that was Olympic style You know, with the big suit on, shooting super slow, and I wanted to go fast, which was my problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, a wide range of firearms experience. So
Yeah.
Big suit on.
yeah, it's like a leather suit that like
Gotcha.
helps improve stability. So
I
Okay.
was checking with the stat guy. Sorry, go ahead.
You're shooting,
Minority friend.
you're shooting. Basically, your goal is to hit a pinhead at 33 feet. So
With a handgun.
with a rifle.
With a rifle. Okay.
So
What type of rifle?
air rifles. But, well, it was air rifles and 22s, but most of it was air rifles.
That
So.
actually sounds pretty cool. Gaston Glock founded Glock and passed away the 27th of December last year.
My
the
birthday.
ripe old age of 94.
He passed away on my birthday.
Gaston Glock. I knew he had passed away here recently.
Thank you, Stat Guy.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
December of 23 is recent.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you and he was born on 7/19/29.
Okay.
Man.
So, yeah. So my questions have been really good tonight. They've started 3 minutes in between, and then the end comes. So for my last question that I started 4 minutes ago, the end was you still do basic like dry fire,
Oh yeah,
the stuff that you're teaching new people. You're still doing it to stay proficient.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean the whatever training industry like Glock, their motto for their training is brilliance in the basics, and if you go across multiple other training units or tier 1 special operations stuff like that, when they're talking about marksman stuff, they're talking about being able to perform the basic fundamentals under stress without error.
Okay.
So
Love it. Love it. A General Mattis quote this early in the show.
it's not General Mattis, but
That's what it says here.
that was a modification of someone else's
Okay.
quote.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Are you just Googling? You have like your Google voice up, and
That's
it's
it.
just like everything we say.
Hey.
You just,
It says General Mattis.
I'll give him credit. He's way better than our first Stat Guy. First
Part-
Stat
it
Guy.
was part of
sucked.
his. Our Nordic friend is probably correct. It says brilliance in the basics was part of Mattis's vision, so he must have stole it from somebody else.
Isn't everything stolen these days? Anyway, except for this podcast.
That's it.
Original.
Yeah.
That's it. Our Viking friend is given the right kudos.
How many guns do you have?
Oh, boy.
ATF is not listening.
I honestly don't know.
That's
A rough
more,
approximate.
more than 30?
so. That was actually. Thank you, PackMan. We, great minds think alike.
That's right.
Like, at what point is there ever enough guns?
I mean, it depends on what you like. Like for me, really there's a lot to be said about somebody that has one rifle, one pistol, one shotgun, because
Right.
they absolutely know how to use it. And I have my go-to, my guns that I would absolutely if something went bump in the night or, for work,
Yeah.
I'm going to use these specific single
Zombie
guns.
apocalypse.
Yeah.
But I also really like collecting. So I've got
So
some
you-
World War II stuff,
Wow. Nice.
some I like weird operating systems. So just it's kind of like old cars, right?
Yeah. Yeah, if you're collecting, I think that's pretty cool. Like I've seen some neat guns over the years.
And I've got hunting shotguns, hunting rifles, and then not the more like target shooting, more tactical stuff. So
But you're also into like knives and things like that,
I
right?
do have a good knife collection too.
So
Definitely on the list. He's
Yeah.
definitely on the list. I'm not looking at the list, but he's on it.
So, Viking Chris is another, I think we're the smartest guys in probably Georgia. 'Cause we all,
Southeast.
we all married much smarter women than ourselves.
Mhm.
And so when your doctor is away with your kids, do you dress up and look in the mirror with all your guns?
No, I don't.
You know, like a Rambo style?
No.
You don't, it's okay.
No, I have definitely played through the house with night vision on before, but not.
Oh,
not
you do
like-
have your own night vision,
Yeah.
don't you? I forgot
Little
about that.
LARPing?
Little LARPing. Yeah, I have been accused of LARPing before.
Nice.
Not by me.
Just
Don't,
right.
don't be putting that. I'll take the fake accent, but not the LARPing reference.
So some
I
nights.
stole that from someone else.
Yeah.
Yes.
So everybody can be there. Some nights they might all just be asleep and you're just through the house with your nods on.
Well, it's not quite like that, but
Or you're in the neighbor's yard.
no, it's
Wherever the mission takes them.
That's it.
yeah, no, if I'm checking equipment, if
got
I've tinkered with something and I'm trying to see how it works. So definitely have some garage beers and
I like it.
mess with stuff in the garage.
You need to start a little club or something. It's a good hobby.
Well, for as long as I've known Chris, I've always known, like, when it hits the fan.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Viking Chris.
Yeah. Thanks for the code.
Sorry.
Hey,
Whoops.
We can't disappoint Scott Bobby now.
I've always known, like, when we hit whatever, lawlessness, zombie apocalypse, whatever the world brings to us, I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going to have my greatest chance to survive.
Going to the Viking residence.
That's it.
I set you up. I gave you that one gun.
Yep.
When you were
Yep.
living out in the boonies.
Yep.
I did stop a young man, I can say this, because I no longer work there.
Okay.
Hail Highway Patrol. I did stop a young man southbound on 85 that voluntarily told me that he had a gun in the glove box of his vehicle,
Okay.
which it was not normal practice for me to ask them to get the gun out of the glove box
Yes,
for
seems
obvious reasons.
counterproductive, yeah.
But when he told me that it was a German Luger, that his
Oh.
father, maybe grandfather, some part of the patriarchy that took it off of a dead German, I said, I'm going to need to see that.
Yeah.
And so on the side of 85, I was admiring another man's gun.
Yeah. It's never
That
been
was
long.
super cool.
No, that would, I would definitely take a look at one of those. Even my limited knowledge of guns, I know that's a pretty
Limited
cool one to look
knowledge
at.
here, but I knew
Yeah.
that was like $1 million gun, so I was touching it.
Yeah. So, is gun fetish a real thing?
Probably.
Yeah, I think it is because it's not lost on me the people that I've encountered in my professional career that just can't keep their hands off a gun. Like they've been to prison for having guns and doing bad things with
Oh,
them.
I got what you said. I didn't
Yeah,
know where you were going
they
there.
know if they're gonna be, if they get caught with another gun, they're gonna go
They're
away for a
drawn
long
to it,
time.
too.
But yeah, it's like a fetish. They just cannot keep their hands off one. It's never been lost on me that me and some other old C.L. Smith always talked about the fetish.
Future guest.
We would label them. We're like, he's got the gun fetish.
He's got it.
Just can't
Yeah.
keep their hands off them.
Are those folks on a watch list too?
Locally,
We've established.
because they also love to take pictures with them and post them on social media. You know,
And they get to meet Pack.
hey,
Yeah,
there you
that's
go.
true. And nothing wrong with taking pictures of your guns and posting them on the internet if you're,
If you're allowed to have them.
lawful,
Yeah.
person that's allowed to have them.
Well, you could be a person of interest on the list too, but that's still okay. Hasn't risen to probable cause
not a
yet.
prohibited person.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask a question because I actually don't know the full answer right now. What is the Georgia carry law right now? Is there one, or is it open? It's you can carry.
As long as you're not a
Constitutional
prohibited,
carry.
as long as
Yeah.
you're not a prohibited person, and it meets all state or federal regulations, you can possess a firearm. So there's
Okay.
like, as long as it's not a NFA item that's not registered, short
NFA being
barrel,
what?
a National Firearms Act. So
Okay.
short barrel, machine gun, stuff like that.
So you can
Bump
carry.
stock. Is bump stock on there?
I think technically, currently, it is still on there, but it is going through the court. That whole thing is still going through the court system, so it hasn't been resolved yet, one way or another.
So is a carry permit still a thing?
Yes.
So what's the purpose of having
The
one? if you don't have
benefit
to have
of a carry permit is reciprocity with other states. So
Ah,
if another
I
state
see.
doesn't have constitutional carry, they may or may not recognize Georgia's carry license. So there's still the benefit of that. And then also when purchasing firearms, it just streamlines the process a little bit.
That was an out of body experience for me. They shot down the credentials for a carry permit, and I'm thinking, I think I had to go through a few more hula hoops.
Who shot
for
that down?
The whatever gun show I was at.
Yeah, that's not
In the great
constitutional.
state of
'cause
South
it's,
Carolina.
well, I guess if it's private property, they could.
This was a private gun
Okay.
show.
Okay, I guess they
At
could
what
deny
was
you.
the
but-
Bilo Center.
Well, they probably still had they may have still also had an FFL, which for their FFL or federal firearms license,
I think you're right.
if they have that, they have different criteria for selling guns. So
I'm not saying they shot down the credentials.
Yeah.
They thanked me for my service. They just knew. They said exactly what Viking Chris said. It will be quicker if you had a CWP or
I got you. And the reason
LTC
yeah.
or whatever acronym you want to use.
and just for the listeners, the reason I wasn't up to speed on the carry laws is because as an LEO years ago, there was a
No matter to you.
there was a was it executive order signed? I don't know. But
George
basically,
W. Bush.
yes, it was back then that you can carry with your credentials
Stack
in any state, not have to worry about the carry laws of that state. If you're an active,
But you still have to comply with their weapons regulations. So for some states, you're not allowed to have like hollow points or
Correct.
certain capacity magazines.
that's
stuff
correct.
like
But
that.
as far as carrying,
Correct.
you can carry anywhere in the
Oh, I didn't know. So if
50
I
United States.
so if I go to California, so I
Or
went
Chicago.
I went to California, and they're one of them weird states that
Yeah.
you can't have like more than a 10-round magazine
Mm-hmm.
or something. And I brought like a duty weapon with a I don't know, 17-round magazine. Am I?
Technically, yes.
Oh, Gavin Newsom coming for you.
Whoops.
Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
Coming after you.
Interesting.
Stat guy's going to interject here and say that George W. Bush signed Law Enforcement Safety Act federal law into federal law, June 22nd, 2004.
Yeah, I remember it was back during his reign, and it made sense.
His
'cause-
reign, I like that.
My bad. I don't know. Is it my bad? I don't know.
No, I like that. Let's start calling the presidential term their
The
reign.
reign. Yeah. I mean, it made sense to make that. I thought it made sense to make that into law because as a law enforcement officer, you got more. You should have more responsibility
Correct.
in public.
I like the should that you put in there.
Yeah, because if you're around, in my opinion, wherever you're at, if you're a law enforcement officer and something happens, life or death, not, menial or.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but if it's life or death, then you should, it's kind of what you signed up for, and you should be ready.
If Nathaniel Blue's on your flight and you steal a pack of gum from the stewardess station, prepare to get the old two-piece and a French fry.
Well, we all got it.
He does not like a thief.
I don't think anybody
No,
likes
nobody
it.
likes him. He just
He's
very
got a
good.
special,
He's very good at catching them.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah. So, home defense. I had a conversation with Special Agent earlier, and also the legal eagle. Ethan is looking for some home defense. What is your recommendations for home defense as far as firearms?
There's so many factors with that. Where do you live? Do you live in a neighborhood? Do you live, out in the boonies?
So let's just say you live in a house in a neighborhood, which most people do.
Then the next question.
Well, I get it.
Athens,
I think what you're saying is like if you live in an apartment,
Yeah.
you don't want to be throwing rifle rounds through the apartment wall.
And then
Shout out Spring Lake. All right.
Shout out to the studio.
and then the structure of your house, and then like, do you have children? So like,
Okay.
if you're trying to run a long gun and you may have to be picking up children and carrying them through the house, that's not going to work so well. So like a pistol would
Good point.
work
Okay.
a lot better for something like that. So
Okay.
He thinks of everything.
there's a lot of factors to that.
Do you ever
but-
turn it off?
No, unfortunately not.
Definitely going to be picking up
Unfortunately
some
not.
people in my house.
Yeah.
I'm going to trip over about 3 of them.
Much to my wife's dismay, I don't turn it off. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are all.
All right. So if you had to give a generic answer, somebody in a house in a neighborhood with kids,
Do we have a budget limit? Because
probably
$1,000 or less than
$1,000
less than a
or
grand.
less.
So,
and you're not a collector. You don't have any firearms.
Not a marksman.
And you're going to buy one. What do you think is the most versatile for somebody that only wants to use it if somebody's coming in to harm their family?
Yeah, I mean, for that budget, probably half of it towards a handgun, and then
And start saving for night vision.
and take the rest of it and go get good training.
Okay.
Go take a training class.
There you go.
And because even if you get a cheap rifle, you can get some cheap rifles for around $500. It's just they're cheap and they're not going to last super long. And the other benefit of a handgun is you can carry it or keep taking your car with you, stuff like that. So it's a little bit more.
So
if you're going to have one gun,
Go ahead, Pat.
What is your home defense weapon? Like if you hear bump in the night, as you said, and you.
Can't.
He's probably got a kit.
I know he does, but like
Can't
if
reveal
you
that.
have time to grab one thing off your nightstand or
You
wherever
can't
it
tell.
is. Like what's the one thing?
we
that-
go to one of the safes that I have in my room. I grab a handgun because I've got
Okay.
little ones
Right.
to.
So part 2 of that
There you
question,
go.
would you have a revolver or a semi-automatic?
I mean,
What do you think somebody who's getting woken up at night, they
So-
hear the the local drug abuser coming in through their kitchen window.
No, they hear the soda can.
Oh, the
pop,
soda
like,
can, that's
yeah,
right.
like,
3:53 a.m.
Yeah,
Gotta go-
3:53.
gotta go clear their house.
Go
So-
clear the house.
So they're waking up and they're grabbing something. Do you think like a revolver is pretty foolproof, but not very accurate?
It's semi-auto for
Okay.
sure.
Alright.
You get more shots. You can
Need the more shots.
easily attach a weapon light to it, which that's
Oh, good thought.
extremely critical. If you're going to be
didn't
having
even think
a home
about
defense
that,
gun,
yeah.
you
Well,
need
we
a
got 'em
weapon
here.
light on it.
That's correct, sure.
Because that's super important. So,
Anyways,
yeah,
weapon light, I did not think of that
That's
either.
actually a good point, because most people would not think to have a weapon like
No.
we are lucky in our profession. Well, not me anymore, but y'all are lucky to have ones like issued to you. But that's actually something I haven't even thought about at home.
need a weapon light.
But then, wouldn't you illuminate yourself to the drug user coming towards you?
I mean, yeah, and so.
How PCP?
I guess you got to shoot.
But
I guess
then,
you got to shoot and move.
The counter to that is then you don't illuminate them and then you shoot your wife.
Oh, good point, man. Way to bring the show down.
Or my
But,
kid, like I said, we talked
or
about it last
Brady.
week, like Brady
Brady.
trying to jump scare somebody in the
No,
middle of the
that's-
night. No.
I was making light. That's actually a super good point. I
And
had
you
not
gonna be
thought about
sitting
that.
there with-
Weapon light is a great idea for everybody
He's
out
sitting there in the interview room with Polly Call
Hey,
because we were killing wives everywhere last week.
we were registering lies.
Fake science, Hogwarts.
Good episode, everybody. If you didn't check it out, go back and check out last week's episode.
Turn the volume up though.
Polygraph examiner Paul. Yes. No, that was good. That was good advice there, Viking Chris. We appreciate that. I guess we'll get into some questions unless y'all got anything further to go right this moment.
I wanted to know
Go
what
ahead.
Viking Chris does for fun other than the thoughts of exacting his revenge on a bad person.
It's probably not going to come to a surprise to anybody, but he is a fan of the Minnesota Vikings.
That's true.
Unfortunately.
And, Viking Chris and I have on many occasions, when we can, we'll always, the Packers and the Vikings play, of course,
Yep.
twice a year.
NFC North.
That's right.
How did you become a Vikings fan? Sorry to interrupt you.
No, great question.
They briefly lived in Minnesota when I was younger, and my dad spent a lot of his formative years in Minnesota. So
Just stay long
Just-
enough to get the beard
yeah,
as a child and then
He
left.
might own the team. The way he
so
looks.
I inherited the Vikings. So.
There you go. Okay, so there's some like geographical connection. That's
Yeah.
why you picked him.
He's a true
And
fan.
my dad was a fan, so yeah.
There you go.
Always
If
good.
You can call us fans. But
Yeah,
they're
well,
terrible.
You might get to root for Kirk Cousins really close here.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I
Rumors
saw that.
coming to the Falcons.
Yeah.
But okay.
Missed out on Bill.
Did I interrupt anybody else?
But anyway, I interrupted his answer.
Oh, yeah. Hobbies.
Yeah. So play a lot of video games too, and then I like listening to audiobooks.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
What do you do while you listen to audiobooks? I've always wondered
I-
that because my wife listens to them, but she drives a bunch
So,
to support us because I'm a kept man.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So driving is a big one. I have a little bit of a commute in the morning, so I listen there, and then on the rower or on runs, I'll do audiobooks.
Okay.
What's your latest audiobook that you're listening to?
Actually, was listening to it on the way over here. Old Man's War, which has been kick into like 70s, 80s sci-fi space stuff, which is
So this is a sci-fi book.
yeah.
Okay.
It's I haven't got very far into it, but he joins the army at age 70 or 65 or something like that,
Jeez.
because they have
Okay.
some sort of regenerative process that makes you younger or something like
Right.
that. So,
Hey, okay.
yeah, it's definitely weird.
Written by
Yeah.
John Scalzi in 2005.
Now, as an audiobook listener, do you prefer a certain type of voice? Do you prefer a character voice or just a monotone?
I mean, character voices definitely make it better.
So it's multiple people.
That
It's
or
almost
they'll-
like an actor read, I guess.
Some of them are, and some of them there's one actor that does multiple voices, which that gets kind of odd when you have like
That's true.
someone trying to do another gender's voice, and
Yeah.
it's like
Oh,
very
that's-
obvious.
Can we
Yeah.
delve into that topic?
Anyway.
It breaks the immersion.
I have heard. I
got you.
don't know the name of the book, Stat Guy. Maybe you can help me out.
Okay, I'm on it.
But Matthew McConaughey's like autobiography, maybe, or maybe his spiritual enlightenment, narrated by himself, is like must listen. I've heard.
Really?
McConaughey, you know, he's got that voice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Reminds you of a
okay.
Lincoln commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
Green lights.
Okay.
That's got him on it.
Yeah, it's about a spiritual
This is
awakening.
the audio
is what I
book.
remember the review being.
You can buy it for $18. By Matthew McConaughey, narrated by Matthew McConaughey.
And is it him or Ryan Reynolds that has the
Green
narrated like nighttime stories? I think Ryan Reynolds.
Nah, no idea, dude. I don't know. Only thing I listen to is the Did You Hear Me podcast on repeat over and over. So,
Thank you for the shout out.
Yes.
Or recommended.
I don't think I'm going to get much love from narrated bedtime stories. That's probably too wide a net to cast. But let's see if Ryan
Maybe so,
Reynolds has it. Y'all go ahead.
But you know, McConaughey has that voice. But anyways, okay.
Bedtime stories with Ryan.
See, I thought that
Bang,
was it.
2023.
Yeah.
You're on it.
Talk about somebody that doesn't age. Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
Moving on.
He,
All right.
His wife was sitting up there with
Alanis Morissette.
sitting with Ice Spice and
She's got to be 70 by now, right?
engaged in some witchcraft during
Wait,
the Super Bowl.
what is Alanis Morissette?
Wasn't he married to Alanis Morissette?
No, he's married to Blake Lively.
Blake Lively,
Who's
yeah.
that guy? Was he not married to Alanis Morissette?
I'm shooting you down on that because I'm
I
a
don't-
huge Blake Lively fan.
Hold on, we got to pause on this because I must have had a weird time in my life.
I know they're not currently married. Are
Okay.
you saying that they were married at some point in time?
I will give him half credit because
Okay.
I didn't think he was married to anybody but Blake Lively. He was married to old Sojo, Scarlett Johansson.
So no Alanis Morissette.
No Alanis Morissette.
Well, the first time I was wrong.
Scarlett Johansson, 08 to 11, and then currently with Blake Lively,
Okay.
2012 to now.
All right, I stand corrected.
I'm not a fan of anyone else in that suite, but I do think Blake Lively is a
Okay.
tenderoni.
All right.
While she's up there with the witches.
Well, you can tell how much I'm plugged in. You know, we kill people off on this show. I have people that were married.
maybe
They're married and divorced if you tell it.
maybe the witchcraft is why he doesn't
Maybe
age,
so.
and that's why she's hanging out with Tay-Tay.
Hey, man. Anyways, we're not getting on a Tay-Tay kick tonight. Get
Got
into
to.
some questions so we can get Viking Chris back to his ship to sail back home eventually.
Special agent some relief.
Yep.
Yeah,
She's
that
down there
too.
keeping the youngest
It's
deputy.
very
Shout out
quiet.
Special Agent.
Yes, thank you.
She either got the chloroform out or things are going well.
Either one is fine.
Wouldn't put it past her. All right. Special Agent, speaking of her, wants to know, and sorry for the people that are listening, I'm going to show you a picture. Do you have any furniture in your house that secretly hides guns? There's a picture I showed Viking Chris of a table that comes apart, and there's some rifles and handguns and all that.
I do, but it is currently not being utilized because of small children.
Okay, so you think your children could figure out the secret and get them out? That's the whole point of having secret furniture.
Possibly. So we've gone to other resources for that. But yeah,
Okay.
when they get older, it will be used again.
Okay. And you don't want to tell us what that piece is in case we come over, huh?
No.
No.
Fair enough.
Right.
Fair enough.
Right.
Are they going to have to, good segue,
Yep.
thank you Sleezy, you're obviously going to teach your children, do you think there's a good age to start teaching children when to use a gun? Do you want them to go to someone other than you so they might listen better, et cetera, as far as firearm safety?
I'm still several years away from that, so I haven't put a lot of thought in. But obviously, one thing is if they're going to be interested in it, that is important. So if they're
And will
not
that
interested in
will
it,
that be a battle with the female doctor?
no. She
Okay.
she has a gun. She carries a gun. So
All
she
right. Go, Doc. Mary
she
Kate
actually,
Ashley's
I need to get
packing.
on. She
Dr. Mary
actually-
Kate and Ashley.
She actually the other day she was like, I want to work on some drills as far as like malfunctions and stuff like that. So.
Man, did you get like turned on?
He did?
No. But it caught me off guard a little bit. But yeah. So
Knock under the table here from our Nordic friend.
no, I was proud. I was glad that she's. It's a very serious thing. So
Right.
carrying a gun, because if you have to use it, you can't mess up. So
That's true.
Classic City is the center of political discourse here lately. So
Yep.
The thing I worry about, like my wife having a gun, is like she's
shooting
petite.
you?
No, she could have done that a long time ago. If she wanted to do that. She has a gun. what I mean is carrying a gun.
Yeah.
It's like she's petite. She's, you know, if she needs to.
Yeah.
She's bringing a gun to what may not be
I got
an
you.
armed situation.
I got you.
You know, I don't know.
Somebody might just easily take it.
Snatch it from her. Yeah.
I got you.
So
She might present it and not be able to use it and have it used against her. Is that kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty. So I don't know. Maybe that's
If
an
you're gonna
unrealistic
present it,
concern.
And if
ready.
you're, if you carry a firearm, you got to be, cognizant of all the consequences. Segue to a story. Mile High Cook and myself and Special Agent and his beautiful fiance,
Beautiful.
Luscious Leslie.
Yeah.
Hey, whoa.
No,
We went out years
She's in the
ago.
South?
This is a short story, but years ago we went out at the behest of Mile High Cook to which I've never done. I've done once this time and never done since, never will again. Went to a club in Buckhead that had like legit security, and I had my off-duty carry
You're
gun.
blicky.
Yeah.
Got the blicky with you. It's okay.
So I just to avoid anything, because I'll call them out right now. Mile High Cook did not make the same choice I did. I left mine in the vehicle in the back pocket of the front seat. So behind the seat there was a pocket in the seat. Left it there. Went in, no problems. Mile High Cook get a little jiggy with it on the dance floor, and the security guard spotted his side piece and went and snatched him. And he had to do a lot of explaining. He was legal, LEO and all that. Had to go put it up in their office. It was a whole big ordeal.
He had some explaining to do, didn't he?
It was Luscious Leslie's birthday, so she was quite having a good time.
Yeah.
We get done, we get back in the car. She sits behind the front seat. For whatever reason, her initial instinct is to dig in the pocket, finds my gun, says, "Look, here's a gun," throws it roulette style into the air.
Oh, no.
As Special Agent, myself, and Mile High Cook all
Hit the deck.
slow-mo. It was the slowest motion thing.
I
And
needed
luckily
a
it
cartoon
landed,
sketch
it
of
landed
this.
harmlessly in between all of us, but it's a scary moment.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So be careful with your guns.
That's not going to be at the Viking Chris home, I don't think.
No.
Just to throw the gun up and hold your breath.
Yeah.
I need a caricature of that whole scenario while the gun was in the air, because I wish I was there.
I felt the barrel hit me every time it circled in the air. I felt it land on my forehead. But luckily,
We need to clarify for the benefit of Luscious Leslie.
Why is that her name?
I don't know.
Sleazy came up with that before I get shot myself.
It rolled off your tongue a little
Yeah, she is a tenderoni, no doubt.
All right. Anyways.
And I love the Mile High Man as well. She's not involved in any first responder capabilities. I just want to
That is
clarify.
correct. That is correct.
So she may have not been around guns a lot, and good for her.
She made us all around that one. So, thank you. All right. All right, moving on. We got a question from. We got a question from Booty Meat.
Okay.
Big Booty
Who
James.
is out enjoying the west? Well, it's not the coast, but he's out enjoying the Phoenix, Arizona right now. Great area if you haven't been to go before it gets hot. This is a good time of year to go.
Yeah.
Saw him at a Cubs spring training game.
Okay.
So shout out Booty Meat. Hope you're having a good time with your lady that we had you broken up with a few episodes ago, and he's not broken up.
That
I
was
was incorrect.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was. I was like,
Yeah.
I got cut off so fast. I was like, you mean he's not with? And they're like, oh, stop. And I'm like, he just brought her to the Christmas party.
That's
like,
correct. So they're still together.
Good.
I
Good
was
for them.
thinking of a
Are you
different
crazy kids out there.
individual.
Nope. Moving on.
Thinking of
Anyway.
He wants to know: do y'all have an opinion on what the all-time best military movie? He says his is We Were Soldiers.
That's a good choice.
It's a good choice.
That is a good choice.
Okay.
But Black Hawk Down is.
That's a good one. Very good one.
I'm not a movie guy. I don't know. It's Tropic Thunder.
Man, get out of here.
That's a great movie.
Canceled.
That's a great
Yeah, did it
movie.
star you?
Essentially
it did.
I gotta make now that you brought it up, man, that is one of the best performances all time by Robert Downey
Just go ahead and
Jr.
say it.
The only guy he
Are
did
you so jealous that you can't wear blackface around?
He can.
he played this white guy played a black man the entire movie. Skin color, voice, everything. It was one of the greatest performances ever. Could not happen today.
No,
No
way.
chance.
but-
or any Mel Brooks movie.
And there was no ill intention. It was just so funny the way he did it. But anyways, all right. The two good movies. We Were Soldiers, Black Hawk Down, very good movies.
Come on, Pack.
It's not a. I guess it's no, it's more of a series. Band of Brothers was. I actually had not seen that until this year. Special Agent and I. Shout out to.
Hint from.
Shout out
to disgruntled man.
To Burger BC, who I work with, for giving me the DVD set. Had to brush off the DVD player to watch it. But it was a very good series. I had seen bits and pieces of it, but I actually watched it all the way through. Great account of World War II.
I don't know what ranks above sheriff, but this man has a new entertainment system also put that thought in your head, I do believe. Because he was watching Band of Brothers at a similar time.
Okay. So that's a good one.
Maybe
for me.
I made that up.
Yeah. I don't know.
I got one, but I
Go
want
ahead.
Pack to go. With all of his tendons.
I'm not a
Tropic
movie
Thunder
guy.
that's a military movie.
That's a good
several.
reference. I appreciate the Tropic Thunder reference.
I don't see a lot of movies. Most people.
Figured,
Go ahead, Sheriff.
I figured he was going to go Major Payne with Damon Wayans. That's an all-timer.
All right, we got.
My serious one is American Sniper, because I'm a huge Chris Kyle fan.
Okay. All right. That actually was a really good movie.
And I can't even think of the daggone movie. I was watching Marcus Luttrell's speech. The Lone Survivor is another good one.
Lone Survivor is a good one.
I was trying to think of some more recent, because y'all hit the back of the day stuff.
Yeah. Those are good.
Pack's still shaking his head.
I don't watch movies,
I
Craig.
want
I
Tropic
live
Thunder
on-
2 to come out tomorrow, just so I can see
Yeah.
the explosion.
Simple Jack and everybody. So, so those are good movies. I think we made some good choices.
Full Metal Jacket's another one.
Yeah, that's an all like an early or an old classic. I
Yeah, we
think.
do have a guy that resembles.
I mean, Saving Private Ryan was a great movie.
We do have a new individual at our place of employment that I have lovingly called. I don't even know who came up with a nickname, but his nickname is now Sling Blade.
Okay.
I don't want him to come to the same demise, but
That has nothing to do with Full Metal Jacket.
I thought Sling Blade was in Full
No,
Metal.
Sling Blade is its own
Yeah, it's
movie.
a movie.
Oh,
With, what's his name that was married to Angelina Jolie?
Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
clearly I'm mistaken.
You remind me a lot of Sling Blade.
So does this new individual.
Oh my goodness! All right.
I thought I was Rooster Cogburn from the John Wayne film.
Or Foghorn Leghorn.
That's another good one. I'll claim all of them.
All right. Ace, one half of the Granite City Gamblers. And again, I've kind of put words in y'all's mouth because y'all probably won't get this game, but we've mentioned it several times because I personally am super excited about the NCAA
I'm gonna
football
get
25 coming out
I'm going to get it.
after a 10, 11-year hiatus. But he wanted to know if y'all had any opinions on, so you can start a dynasty mode if people don't know. You can start a dynasty mode as a program and continue with them for like 40 years and, try to do whatever. You can hop around as a coach. He wanted to know what team were you looking forward to start out with as your dynasty. I'll go ahead and answer because I already know the answer. I'm going to be UGA because they're going to be like, all right, so I'm going to start out as the Georgia Bulldogs because they're going to be very good in the game.
Okay.
And so I can get my, my bearing straight, run a few years, win a few natties, more than likely, probably a couple Heismans, probably create myself as a player, get recruited, be a running back probably.
Are you going to get an NIL deal in the game too?
Obviously.
Just for men.
That's right. The youngest gray-headed man is now jet black.
But
But also,
240.
and this is we're going down to like 10% of our audience now, but also I think it's very challenging to get a program such as like Tulane, the Green Wave or something like that, and try to build them up with your own skill that you've learned playing with good teams, and go back and start over with them, or either change your head coach to be the coach of them and build them up. So anyways, there you go. Moving on. Anybody else got any ideas?
You're trading that would never happen in the real world. A
It's
double
a
natty
video
winning
game.
coach getting traded to Tulane.
Not traded, accepting
Oh,
a
what?
position.
Okay.
Yeah.
Name that ever happening.
That's why it's a video
on
game.
Sleazy's Dynasty mode
That's
video.
right.
I knew where you were going. You
Yeah.
were going to be a well-acclaimed coach and then pull someone through
From
from the ashes.
somebody who had no chance of even being considered in the playoffs. I was going to bring them to a natty as my legacy.
You know what, Chris?
No, I'm not gonna play that game.
Not enough shooting. He'll invade the football field, and everybody will have to fend for themselves.
There you go.
He's shooting 3 people at the concession stand.
Sheriff, who you
in the
playing
video
with?
game.
Who you playing with, Sheriff?
Yeah, I was going with your Tulane, or I would like to see the Georgia State. What are they?
The Panthers.
Lions, Panthers, something like that.
Lions. Panthers.
I knew there was a feline individual on their helmets, but yeah, Kennesaw State would be another good one in this
okay.
area, just to rise them from the ashes. As you said, you kind of stole my answer, but
Yeah,
I would want it to be local and
Yeah.
small school.
Because the old NCAA games, you could get so good on the highest level that if you had the best team, you just beat everybody. So getting a challenge with some, low overall ratings on your players was a challenge, and you felt like you really did something. You could really go out there and tell your wife that you really were the man.
I guess I would pick. I'm not going to get the game either, but I guess so I could brag to my wife.
Yeah.
I'd pick her alma mater,
There you
the
go, that's right.
UAB Blazers.
Oh.
The Fighting Trent Dilfers.
Trent
That's
Dilfers
it.
going out
Yeah.
there.
You'd be
That's a
taking
good
a
one.
spot saying,
Yeah. That's a
Rooney,
good.
eat your heart out, Rooney Rule. I'm coming in here to coach.
That's a good answer. Very good answer.
No one knows who the Rooney Rule is, and we'll move on.
Yeah.
My alma mater does not have a football team still, and it's not it is NCAA now, but it's Division II. But I could do like Pack and pick the Anderson University Trojans,
There you go.
where the wife was a biology major and grad.
Yeah. So my alma mater was the Georgia College and State University, because we had to add that on there. Bobcats.
In Dahlonega?
No, sir, in Milledgeville,
Yeah,
Georgia.
that's right. I keep putting you in Dahlonega.
Right
That's
down
North
there
Georgia College and
by the state mental hospital, side by side.
Good spot.
But we did not have a football team either. When I was there, I don't know if they still do it or not, but they started a good marketing campaign that we had an undefeated. They sold shirts that said Bobcat football undefeated, because we were
Never been
lost.
defeated.
Like the Granite City Gamblers.
The only technical Division I athlete at the table here.
That's true. Do you bring that out to people
Could be.
pretty often? I would.
Not
That's a flex.
often, but
That's a flex.
I mean, it was.
He just brought it out to dozens and dozens of
His team is definitely on the game too.
I don't think they're because I don't think they're in the bowl division though or something. There's something.
Like
FCS.
Are they D2?
maybe,
FCS?
maybe they are. I thought we were.
What are they? What are they? The Bulldogs?
The Bulldogs.
You are correct. They are Division I, but it would be the old Division I AA, which is now the Football Championship Series versus the Football Bowl.
Yeah, that's.
So as a
FBS and
actually, that's what I meant
FCS.
to ask you earlier. As a
Where'd you pull that out of? Magic tricks going on.
there's no more meat. I don't know.
You're not on call either. There's more meat.
Anyway,
Not much.
that's well, we gotta finish it. Anyways, as somebody, that's good. That's oh my god.
Hey.
You don't have to drive.
That's it.
That's true. I do rent a room at the
I was
studio.
just gonna say, how do you know? I haven't disclosed where the studio is.
My bad. He rode his bicycle.
Yeah.
That's it.
I just rent a room at the studio whenever I can't go home. How did you choose the Citadel as somebody who is not in the military?
That was just a life change I intended to and whatnot, so.
I can see that.
Which
So you were
it's
like
good
in,
that I went there because if I had gone to a normal college, I 100% would not have graduated. So
Because of the discipline?
yeah, it's structure. You can't leave campus, and like I didn't have great grades going into the first semester, and I got put in study hall. So
Oh.
that's
But that's like it's in Charleston, right?
yeah, it used to be in downtown Charleston, and it moved. It's on the outskirts of the city, but I mean it's
You're
a couple
supposed to
miles
know
from the
this. There's
city.
just a notebook. It's right. The football field is directly beside the Charleston River Dog Stadium. That's why I know it. So
Correct. Well,
Ah,
and I think
the new one? The new stadium?
whatever one they're
Maybe
in
it's not
now.
new.
Yeah.
The one I went to last year.
The hotel I stayed in when I was in Charleston
Marriott?
last year was the Embassy Suites, and it was the old,
The original, yeah.
the original Citadel. I don't know. Was it? It seemed like it was probably dorm rooms, or was it?
Yeah,
like the actual,
so what they did is they put a roof on it, but it was open air,
Mhm.
and then on the parade deck is that park right there.
next, right.
And
outside
they used
of
to
it.
shoot cannons and stuff
Yeah.
there, and
Man,
and
that's interesting.
yeah, the
I thought you were going
There's
somewhere else.
much
there.
debate there, but there's about whether this is actually the first shots or not. But they claim that cadets fired the first shots of the Civil War on the Union standard.
I knew I had an uneasy feeling when I walked across that field. Man, I knew it.
That took a couple turns. Yeah. Pat, were you ducking, Pat?
I was doing something.
So they,
I know, that's all you.
Juking and jiving.
Let's see.
yeah.
Yeah, get some of that
So
blood
y'all,
in
so
there.
y'all, when you went, it still was in downtown Charleston or on the outskirts?
It's on the outskirts now.
You're that close to Charleston, a good time, and you can't go there.
I mean,
Except on
on
pass.
like Fridays and Saturday, on the weekends you get some time, and then you can get an overnight pass every now and then. But yeah,
Okay.
Charleston is not a, I don't know, I'm sure there was some holes in the wall for our Nordic friend here, but that is not a cheap place to party.
It's
As
not
a man that
super
goes
cool.
there every
do.
summer.
Yeah, I love Charleston.
Yeah, it was a
I
great
think-
time though.
I'm not saying I don't just love walking around and being part of the peeps, but I'm not, you know, you're gonna spend $50 a head for food or whatever.
Depending on where you go, there's holes in the wall though.
I mean, I'm sure it's got its local spots, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. The College of Charleston is downtown
Yeah.
Charleston, so there are definitely like things that cater towards college students.
Yeah,
so.
Charleston's a good time.
College of Charleston is the #1 party school in South Carolina, or it's up there.
It should be.
I don't know why I know that, but I do.
I don't either.
Plethora of useless knowledge.
There you go. All right, the King did send a question in directly for you,
oh, we got questions
Viking
from
Chris.
both King and Ace.
Yeah, I know, but not together, obviously. They're still feuding.
That's right.
The King wants to know if you're still jealous of him.
I didn't know I was jealous.
I don't know the history of that question, but
I don't either.
yeah, well, there you go, King. There's your answer.
We had another question.
Yeah.
I thought we were moving on. The King loves him some King.
He does love us some King.
I feel like there is an inside joke there too, but I
So,
could be mistaken.
yeah. Actually, Doc Lolliday had a question.
Doc
Go
Lolliday
ahead
had a
with
question. I don't remember it. I'll text it
Oh, I
to
got
the
it.
group.
I
You
got
got it pulled up?
Stat Guy's got it.
Okay.
And then I had one that we missed on the top shelf there, but we can come back to it.
Yeah, Doc Lolliday doesn't have any social media, so
She goes straight to the source,
Straight to
baby.
the
There you
source.
go. Go ahead, Sheriff.
What would be the title of your
That's right.
autobiography if you had one? We need our illustrious
That's a-
guest to go first. Would you listen to it on audiobook?
No, there's no reason to write an autobiography.
yeah, there's really no reason to write about autobiography. I guess I'll go first, give you time to think
Come
and
on,
marinate it.
Pat.
It would have to be my slogan. Just trying to
trying
survive.
to
The life and
survive.
times of
With the dollar
Me.
sign as the S.
The PackMan.
yeah. That's it.
That's a good one.
You have been a well-traveled soul.
Yeah.
I know what I'll do. I'll steal this from PackMan. It'd be called "De Witness These Nuts."
Oh, there you go. Oh man, you got to tell the story now. You got to tell
Actually, that's maybe not, 'cause it's revealing.
Well, you just gave out your government name and your social.
Well, yeah.
yeah.
Long story short, trying to come up with a hashtag for an event that happened in Viking Chris's life, and
An event.
trying to come up with a hashtag for it, and I said hashtag to witness these nuts, and that was not the hashtag they picked.
I used it.
Yeah.
My autobiography would be just SMH. It's like, what is this guy doing? Like every chapter is like shaking your head at him. Like, what is he doing now? That's my autobiography.
I was glad that this was not used by our Nordic friend, but mine would be called The Soulless Ginger, which I believe he has called me on the firing line, but has not wrote a book about me
I've
yet.
never called you souls to
Maybe that was Rye.
that. Absolutely
Yeah.
would.
Could have been Rye.
Could have been.
I'm gonna be confused now when I see that truck moving along with
The
a Just
red-
for Men man in there.
The red beast is gonna live on.
You had that other question?
Got one more question. It's from the special agent. She wanted us to ponder
This is
She
good.
probably saw it on Instagram somewhere. I don't know. It's a ponderer though. She said, in this day and age, is the pen still mightier than the sword?
That was,
Man, that's too deep for this.
my eyes were drawn to that.
I
Too
say,
deep for this podcast? Are you kidding me?
I say,
I'm trying to take us deep, and y'all keep
pause.
rerouting me.
Yeah.
Take us deep.
I say, I'll go ahead and answer.
Come on.
Witnessing this country for the past 2 decades, the pen is by all means mightier than the sword.
Is it an actual pen, though?
It's
No,
a figurative
it's-
of speech. They can write into law.
Figurative of speech.
Yeah, figure of speech.
The
Figurative.
me.
It's figurative speech.
The meat and
I know it.
that sneaky link drink.
They-
yeah.
Secret beverage over at Tilly.
The people in charge in Washington can use their pen to write up anything to take away anything that might come up against them, sword or firearm related.
Ooh, I like it. Come on, let's go with it.
That is why I say it's mightier than the sword, because they can just make it.
Well, it's because the sword isn't getting used.
But I
You know, right?
okay.
Yeah.
But I think if it was being used, they would just write it up as it being. Let's just use the word insurrection or something like that.
Oh, yes, let's do it. Let's go into it.
No, I'm just saying they can write whatever they want to
So is
and
this,
make it illegal.
is this like a think while it's still legal type deal? The T-shirts that you see all over the place? Or at least
Well,
I see them. Maybe I'm in the
You
algorithm.
can think.
for
I
that.
don't think the people in charge think thinking is a threat. Well, to a certain extent, but
Thank
Yeah.
you for correcting yourself there.
yeah. Anytime they see something that might come against their power, because I have not been shy about it before. Everybody in Washington on both sides of the aisle are only concerned about their next election, so that we're all
But-
pawns in their game.
Yeah, but to your point, and y'all brought it up earlier, like the bump stock thing.
Yep.
That was spooky to somebody. So
Yeah.
the pen said bump stocks are illegal now, or NFA item, or whatever they are
This
right
is
now.
correct, straight illegal.
Straight illegal. So I mean,
Yeah.
to your
And you can take. I'm going to be neutral on this. You can take the border issue from the previous president to the current president. Each one put in pen how they wanted it to go, and it went that way. So the pen can sway things
Are you saying
either
like-
direction.
Well, the
Go
other
ahead.
thing is,
Go ahead, Chris.
you need the pen to gather swords. So it's brain versus brawn. It's being able to collect yourselves, organize, and one sword is useless. One good sword is useless against 1,000 bad swords. Like, you have to be able to build a group, build a belief system, and organize it. And that's where
Yeah.
the pen is definitely mightier
Definitely
than
some
sword.
buzzers going on somewhere.
Yeah.
He's done it.
That was,
He's done it. He's started the call.
Well, it's just, I mean, if you just look, and to get away from like the local stuff, but if you just look at the history of men, like, it's just, if you're unorganized and you don't have a belief structure and you can't communicate, like, you can't do anything.
Those who do not study history are bound to repeat it. I think Bill Belichick told me that, but it definitely wasn't that quote.
There you go. That was well stated there, Viking Chris.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah. I don't think I can add anything to it.
Okay.
I don't know
think
why
you've
you called
gone
one,
yet.
but yeah.
I did go. I don't know.
Yeah.
Edmund Burke, an Irishman.
There
Good
you go.
segue. Sir Edmund, my bad. The
Yeah.
Irish statesman. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say without this podcast sounding like a revolution, I would say you got to have them both, I think is what you're saying.
I feel set up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we had you here.
We had you here, the leader.
Well, I don't know. There's not much more to add on that. And I don't want to cut anybody off like I've been accused of doing. Does anybody have anything to add?
I will
Go ahead.
say, here recently, you can see, with some of the recent happenings here locally, you can see how I think we all want to respect the dignity of life. We've hit on that before, whether it's preserving it or when life is lost, you got to investigate whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The attention in today's world, which I guess would be part of the pen, is that what we're saying? Social media, text,
Yeah, I think you
media,
can put it in
all
that
that, still a
category.
pen. Yes, I would say that is still very much as important as the sword, to Chris's point, because the more eyes you have on something in 2024, the quicker you're probably going to get closure or whatever the case may be. I'm saying closure because that was the situation here locally.
Yeah. Well,
Most important thing is the pin 15.
Pen 15. We had to go there. Now your mead's kicking in.
If anybody knows what that is, you can go back to your middle school days. And,
Stand by for the sound effect. The cruise missile is definitely going to know what you mean there. That's who explained that saying to me.
Oh, really?
all right.
Okay.
Because I wasn't
Pin
getting it.
15.
Pen 15.
There you go.
On that note.
Most powerful.
No, I will agree with that.
Anyway, myself.
Anyway. All right.
Pen 15 for the win.
Yeah. Viking Chris, we really appreciate you lowering yourself to come on the podcast.
He's regretting it now.
You had some eloquent answers, and hopefully you survive.
I was a little nervous at first.
I mean, when you come in the boom boom room, the lights hit you, and the mics are turned on,
I had to wait like 30 minutes.
and we all have to wait 30 minutes every week for the sheriff to show up.
Well, I was
the tensions can rise.
I was trying to make sure that the special agent had everything she needed.
Yep.
And it was still a crap show.
Yep.
Pretty sure she didn't need the baby.
She didn't need it. But I was bringing everything she would need with her. Yeah, thanks, Pat. I don't already feel bad about it. And just for full disclosure, saying we're throwing pen 15s out there. Everyone in the Turner home, we have like 100 kids of all ages. Luckily, some of them are self-sufficient and maybe haven't burned the house down. But the entire adult Turner home is on call.
Yeah.
Hence the secret beverage. My wife is probably delivering life into this world as we speak.
Got her hands full.
Hands full, paws, and so the special agent is coming up huge.
She stepped
There's
up.
one child I cannot leave alone out of the 15 of them.
Yeah. Well, it's about time she stepped up. I'm tired of carrying this podcast, this household by myself. So about time she stepped
Just
up.
bringing in kids that aren't even hers.
No, we appreciate her watching. The little sheriff or the little deputy. All right, Viking Chris, we appreciate you being here.
I appreciate her watching.
Yep.
Amen.
And, we're going to make sure we save this episode before the audio system crashes this week.
There we go.
So we won't have subpar audio to be back to its mediocre standards for this week. And
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
appreciate everybody listening. And we'll see you next week for episode 24 on St. Patty's Day.
King Griffey.
King Griffey or
That's
Manny
right.
Ramirez.
There you go. All right, everybody have a good week. We'll see you.